Mm, boom, 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 boom. Boom. Now we are ready.
Two guys from two worlds. This is the flip side. New episodes is uploaded on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify every week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Now, your hosts, Jay and Noel.
Good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the flip side with Jay and Noel. What's up? I'm
Chocolate.
sorry. I guess it doesn't really matter. We need to apologize if we're running late or not. Somebody decided to sleep in and has no consideration whatsoever for people who are waiting. But that's just me.
Be- Better late than never. Sorry, Jason. I know, right? You're dealing with a high school kid.
It's okay because
It feels-
it's a lot. It's okay for me to I got a lot of patience with this in particular setup because you were in the Philippines and I'm here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But typically, if you're arriving 5 minutes late early, you're
Mhm.
10 minutes late. That's just the way it is. Come on, we literally just started and she's interrupting already.
We just literally started and you're interrupting already.
Yeah, tell her to calm down. All right, go to
Calm down.
sleep.
No, later. Go back to bed.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. What are you wearing?
No, no, that's not what I meant.
I know.
You're saying something about being late?
Yeah, you were. That's what I was saying.
No. Normally, you'd
Yeah,
not be okay with it. You'd be
I
okay
just
with it.
don't. I'm not big at being tardy or saying the word tardy is like you're a high school student, but just being
Uh,
late. I hate it honestly. It's so annoying. The this whole Filipino time that's like very big here. So when my wife goes out with her friends,
mm,
they're gonna go. Hey, let's go meet up at the restaurant for dinner at 7 o'clock. An hour
mm.
later, that's just when they're gonna start because Filipino time, and it sucks.
Because they're all Filipinos.
Yes, yes, most of
I
them
was
are.
wondering. I was wondering if like you got some Caucasian, Hispanic people saying, "Oh, Filipino time."
Well,
I,
in some cases, some of my friends that are not Filipino get used to it with the other Filipinos, so they
mm,
just show up late anyway, and it sucks.
mm.
Uh,
I don't
uh,
know. I,
I don't know where
I
that
don't
came from.
remember where I read about what that whole Filipino time was about. But if you want
How?
to sort of,
Remember Philippine Airlines? How? Late, always late.
that was just a
No, I
joke. But
I know, but that's pretty much how they come up with it. Filipino time. Well, I guess that's what I'm equating it to.
no. That's not. No, Philippine Airlines has always been like on time, wasn't it? Hasn't it been?
Maybe
Maybe.
in the Philippines, but here, no.
It's got that reputation for
Yeah,
being late.
yeah,
Oh wow.
absolutely. Here, everywhere Philippine Airlines is over here, either the East Coast, the West Coast, or in Hawaii or whatever. It's always
Oh
late.
wow.
Always.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Although
Um.
the like stewardess and flight attendants and whatnot, they're very, very
Oh.
friendly. They're friendly. Fly to friendly skies is what they say, but plane's always late.
Oh. Fry the
Yeah.
Friendly Skies. That's their marketing there. Here
No,
it's.
it's not. It's. I just said that because it's like they seem to be really overly friendly, like the flight attendants for PAL over here.
Mm, mm,
I
mm,
guess it's a
mm.
typical Filipino thing, though. But anyway,
Yeah, can't get mad for their attitude or for their character.
yeah, no,
Like
no.
you'll be pissed off that they're late, but
Ye-
once you see that smile, I wonder if it's because, and maybe this is just me, but I'm thinking, or I don't know if it's right, but like maybe it's like maybe there's something going on in our heads, Filipinos. Now, when I get there, I don't know how it's running in our heads why it's okay to be late. And I'm not saying it's okay to be late. I'm just wondering what's going on in our heads. Is it like, oh, if I get there on time, it's going to embarrass the other person for being late?
Don't know.
I
I
don't know.
mean, I honestly don't know, but I mean, it does sound like that might be a good reason, but it's crazy that here, for some reason, any kind of gathering whatsoever, if you say your gathering starts at 6 and you're there at 6, you're like the first one there. I don't
Yeah,
understand that.
what's the
And that's, I kid you not, I have experienced that at almost every single Filipino gathering that I've ever attended. It's insane.
yeah, I'm gonna
But here,
that's
I know when I throw a party, like for example, before back then when I was younger, I'd throw a house party and I'd tell people 9 o'clock. It's 8:30. People start showing up. It's insane.
I googled it.
What?
What does it mean by Filipino time? During the American period in the Philippines, the American colonizers invented the term Filipino time to mean the habit of always being late to an agreed meeting time. time. So it
That's
is a
so it's literally that's what it is. It's like Filipinos being late ever since way back then.
yeah.
And this
Is
is during
Philippine
World War II, I'm assuming, when the American military was there.
yeah, yeah. And then the next and one of the questions that the list of the questions that pop up is Filipino time a tradition? It is common for Filipinos to arrive an hour or 2 hours after the designated time. This is commonly referred to as Filipino time. However, Filipinos will observe punctuality in a formal context, such as an important business meeting, appointments,
Correct.
or when visiting the doctor.
That's correct. Yeah, like school, work, whatever. Um, I do know that Filipinos are punctual like that, but when it comes to social gatherings and whatnot, most Filipinos are always late.
And then there's a question: what is Filipino time? What is the Filipino time philosophy? There's a philosophy. Filipino time, a Filipino bad habit which is caused by human mentality. It is a bad attitude where Filipinos use the time irresponsibly. In this Filipino bad habit, people are minutes or hours late to the specified, but it doesn't really tell me the psychology of why. The main reason for this philosophy is relying to the concept of bahala na.
I don't understand that. Like saying whatever. Like we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about it. Filipino time refers to the perceived habitual tardiness of Filipinos. It is really a thing, huh? It bears similarities with African time and CP time, and the term is usually used. I don't know what CP time is used. What time CP time is? Central Pacific. In
I don't know
a
about that.
pejorative sense as one of the defining negative traits of the Filipino. Wow, that's embarrassing. That's
So
embarrassing.
this other thing that I'm reading, it says stop the colonial lie. Apparently, it's dating back to the colonial times where there is a widespread definition based on ignorance, one that originated from colonial Philippine time with the Pacific Islanders. It says that Filipino time is a practice of being late for appointments, but being late has nothing to do with being Filipino. Being late has everything to do with self regard and discipline. Only applicable majority of the time in social gatherings. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I remember reading it somewhere about how people will be a little bit late so that you don't look too over eager for being there early.
Like making an entrance, so to speak. I think that applies a lot. You know how
Yeah.
one of the Filipino traits that this might apply to is I don't know. Okay, it happens here as well. You know how Filipinos try to over show each other, like outdo each other. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like uh, like specifically, like two ants are always trying to like outdo each other. Like, oh, that's a big good entrance. Well, I can do a better entrance, type of thing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just, but it's just I hate it honestly.
I think it's something yeah, you're right. Something about thinking about how it's going to look like when you get there.
Right.
So your brain, maybe subconsciously, for some reason, is thinking, what is it going to look like when I get there? People are going to turn their heads, and will I be, you know what I mean?
Make it
So
an entrance type of thing,
you-
you know?
you're thinking about your entrance. Yeah. So maybe being Filipino is you don't want to make a big entrance, or maybe you do want to make a big entrance.
Maybe you do. A lot of people do want to make a big entrance, you know?
I'm thinking the reason for me subconsciously to want to be late would be because I just sort of want to blend in. You know, I don't want to be
Look, coming in late is actually going to make you stand out more, right?
right,
Like you
right,
said, when
right.
you walk in, even if you're coming from the side door, for example, right? People will
Yeah,
turn heads and look like, who the hell is this asshole trying to come in late? Yeah.
yeah. But you know, there's a bit of a what's a proper term for it? Like a well, yeah, disrespectful. But there's a bit of a another. I don't want to use the word
Oh,
asshole.
it's like a status symbol. If
Yeah,
if you're
it's
like
almost like I
if
don't
you're
care about your
bigger,
time.
right, right.
I don't care about your time. I'm coming my time. Yeah, so it's in a way it's even passive aggressive. It's
Right.
even it's even like I don't really respect your time,
If your
Jason.
stature in life is at a better situation, you know,
Maybe,
better level, then
maybe.
you're like, it's okay for you to be late.
Yeah. Like you're the mayor. I got stuff to do. I take care of the city.
Right,
Your
right,
your little party here in the barangay is a little just a little something for me to I'll do it if I have time
right.
in case if I feel like it.
It's crazy though. On the flip side, when it comes to Filipinos and their being on time here,
Mm,
I just had a bad experience with that. Remember I told you about that when I had a Filipino employee that just got way too comfortable? I
mm.
hated it. Always late, always late. Even after being written up and given a warning and whatnot, multiple occasions, they still decide to like come in late. I'm like, come on, dude. And then use the reasoning of like, we're Filipinos, we're supposed to be watching each other and all that stuff. Come on, that's just not right, you know. I mean, I had to fire him, obviously, and it happened in multiple occasions, like I said. But
Yeah.
punctuality to me is like, you gotta be. I'm not supposed. I go to work every morning. I'm usually there between 8 and 8:45. Okay, sometimes even earlier. But I don't have to
Mm,
be at the work until 9 because the
yeah,
office
yeah.
opens at 9. You know, I just like being early because I like to get the head start of my work. Whoa, but you got dark really quick.
I haven't been paying the electricity bill here. Hold on. Speaking of being late, hang on a second. Do you mind plugging in the wire just to turn it back on? Sorry about that. Some
Yeah, you're
technical
fine.
difficulties here while we appreciate the mosquito killer all the way in the back.
The luminance of the
We
purple
are,
light.
yeah. While normal people that do, that fix up their background here have like LED lights, I've taken the more practical route by adding the mosquito killer to the background, which
It's
is
a
also
dual purpose.
purple. Yeah, exactly. And I'm showing it off because it's got a stand.
Have you
So
actually used that?
buy it now for 2.99, huh?
Have you used it?
What do you mean have I used it? I'm using it right now.
No, I mean, like besides for display or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Of course. If you go outside, like our little forest in in front of the house, you just
Oh,
yeah, we use
pew,
it.
pew.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I've used it. When was that? It's so satisfying though. This one, because I've seen other ones that are just like really.
Right,
This
right.
this one is like bang! So
like
satisfying.
like brutal shock.
Yeah, that's actually why I put it back here so that it kind of wakes us up in case something
Right. I've
goes
only
on.
seen it once. That was it.
It's interesting, right? So I was researching about how to use these mosquito killers properly, actually.
Hmm.
And long story short, it's best to put it not actually where you're sitting, not here, But it would
Right.
be better if I place it like by the window or maybe by the door where the entrance is from for those mosquitoes to come in. And then that's where they would go first before they would go to humans or my body.
Which makes sense to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, but the bottom line of that would be that would be split. Don't put it where you are. So it's going to get confused on where it's going to go.
Right. Right.
And yeah. So make it like first try to make it go away from you in case it doesn't go to the light or it doesn't go to the lure.
The
At least
lure.
it's well, that's what the light is all about. It's trying to lure the insects to go there.
Got it. Is that the right word to use there? I don't think that's the right word to use there.
That's the word. That's lure. That's what I got from the.
I know what lure, how to spell lure. Jesus.
That's the word that they're using.
Okay.
It's going to try to lure the mosquitoes or the insects, which is the bad thing about these mosquito killers. By the way, if you leave them on like this, they will attract other insects that you don't want to kill, like little tiny spiders, maybe.
Why wouldn't you want to kill spiders?
Why would you? Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Because they kill other mosquitoes. They actually try to catch other mosquitoes.
Ah.
Yeah. You live in a farm in the Philippines. You'll find that. You'll learn.
You know, again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm stupid that way. I mean, when you think spiders, I'm like thinking Spider-Man upside down in the corner of a house just trying to catch flies.
That's right. Exactly. So they whip out this web. They catch flies, actually, not
Right.
maybe not mosquitoes. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, anyway, they're supposed to be one of those good insects. So they're not. That's the problem with these things. If you don't, but that's not what this is. This one I can hold in my hand and whip it around. So you can kill it specifically what you want to go after. But
Right.
that's the problem with the ones that you hang, because there's versions like this that you hang, right? The big ones.
Like a lantern looking one. I think I've seen those lantern ones. I've never seen it up close.
That's exactly what this is, except it's not a lantern. It's a tennis racket.
No shit. Obviously, I can see that. It's flat.
But that's why I got it, because you can use it as a lantern also. The same idea. Same idea.
Right.
Same idea.
Well, that's
But
good.
anyway, that's what I found out, that you put them as far away from you as possible, because if you put it together with you and the rest of the people that you're trying to protect, you're even going to attract more. The more you're going to attract them to come to you guys and bite everybody.
Like more flies and whatnot.
Yeah, to and then one more thing that you don't do with these mosquito killers
What?
is if you got food and then you start like waving, like you don't want to kill the bugs on top of the food, and then they're
Because it's gonna land on the food.
It's going to land on the food. So those are the big
Big no-nos
bullet
and
points.
whatnot. Yeah.
Bullet points, things to remember when you're using that. Because I was like can't be too easy, and can't be. No, how am I using this properly? So I was looking into that, and yeah, aside from that, you actually, the other thing is you won't actually kill yourself with electrocuting yourself with this, but you can burn yourself.
Oh, really? So it's that hot. The electric part is that hot. Where if you put your finger in there, you're gonna burn the tips off.
That's right.
I mean, I wouldn't say burn the tips off, but
so in other words, the spark isn't strong enough to kill you, but it is strong enough to burn the tips of your fingers or your tongue or whatever body part that you decide to stick on the net. although it has another net in front. See, I'm kind of touching it right now.
Yeah.
But did you hear the static on your headset when I touched it? Like it's like
no.
Yeah, I could hear it on my headset, so I could hear like the static going through my body. Maybe when I touch it, it's like like
you got way too much time in your hands, bro.
Which is right there. You just saw it.
Yeah.
I
mean,
so if you
the way I mean, there was a time though. Seriously, when we go camping and whatnot, I always have a swatter, right? Like literally just a paper, and I just sit on my camping chair, waiting for a fly to pass by. And I'm like, I don't know what it is. To me, it's like calming to just watch it and try to swat it in midair. I mean, I told you that's how I've been doing it, But
so stressful.
I like watching it get. You just get shot out.
I get stressed doing that. What's so relaxing and satisfying is when I hear this guy. Bam! You know?
Can you imagine though, if you're at that size as a fly or whatever or mosquito, and then can you imagine how it feels to them to just get physically burnt up to death in a split second?
I was reading about that too. They don't feel anything. There's like a whole paragraph dedicated. Do insects feel anything when they get zapped in the zapper?
Like
No.
specifically mosquitoes.
Yeah, of course not. They don't have
Right.
any like. Well, there's two ways to look at it, right? So physically and then mentally. And then there's like a sentence there that says something like, they don't have any emotions.
But
Like,
well, some insects are just that weak though, And it's funny that you say something like that. I'm going to segue a little bit here. I read an article actually 2 days ago. I caught the link from the Joe Rogan podcast, and I'm actually sending you the link right now. It's how ants, those little ants, how strong they are, how they can literally bind together. And it's amazing. Okay. They can bind.
Yeah. Oh,
there's one roof.
There's like
from
a bridge.
Yeah.
a
From a
bridge
tree.
Yeah.
That's literally maybe 20 feet across to the closest roof. And they've bound together to create a bridge. And it's saying,
Yeah.
I saw this online and went on pictures, and all these comments online are saying that's fake. They're crawling over a rope or an electric wire that's hanging between two houses and whatnot.
Right.
And they're not. They're
Right.
just not. And it's insane how strong these ants are. It's kind of
while
scary.
While that link is loading, I'm sure you saw Anthony's video. Speaking of ants, oh, you got another one.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh man, can you imagine walking through this, like sort of bumping into it, and all these ants fall on you?
Exactly. That's I mean, you're literally, and if you're not paying attention and you just break it with all those ants getting on you. I mean, the ants will kill you.
Yeah. I was looking at Anthony's video. So speaking of hardworking ants, our friend Anthony here sends us a video of him watching the gym. He's actually working. He's in the middle of and he's
I didn't want to say I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to say anything, but I was like thinking about it when I saw the video earlier. I'm like, is he just behind the counter, like just watching?
He is. I'm sure he is. He's just like managing the gym,
right?
Sitting at the counter waiting for people to come in.
And if you noticed the beginning of that video where that girl with the gray sweater and the red gloves, like hitting those punching, that girl's got issues.
Look a little bit of
look at her. You see her? She looks like
yeah. Puts her whole body into it.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, you were saying?
No, you were saying something about the and he's sending more videos.
Jesus. What the heck? I just saw that.
Yeah, he's sending more videos.
Right.
So in case you guys did catch up from the last episode, another high school friend of ours, Anthony, which we call Ants, is managing a UFC gym in San Bruno.
And they wouldn't catch up to it because it hasn't been published yet.
What?
The episode?
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully by the time they see this one, that other one would have been published already.
True. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus like that.
In chronological order here. But yeah.
Ants just sent like a bunch of videos of his work. I don't know if these are right now as is, but it looks like it's a full house tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But it's one of those things where, gosh, aren't you glad that because he used to send me videos before of these guys working out at their gym with masks on.
Right.
I'm glad to see that they're not wearing them right now anymore.
It looks like the whole place is back into full swing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's got to
Looking
be
at
at
this
least 30 people in there at once.
reminds me of how much of a couch potato I am now. It's like, jeez, these guys are working out at the gym and I'm here doing a podcast with Jason.
Yeah, what the hell happened to our little deal there? Even I gave up a little.
Oh, did you?
Not completely. I still do it here and there. Maybe I do it
Uh,
3 times a week.
what was I going to say about that? Oh, me, I realized that, if I shoot the video working out and then I upload the video, the next video, people are not going to be able to tell if what happened, that there was like 15 days, a month in between those two videos that I didn't work out. So
They,
I'm
they,
already lying.
they can't tell. You're already coming up with a lie and you haven't even.
I'm, yeah, I'm already lying to myself, right? Like, oh, I could catch up. Isn't that funny? I mean, sorry, like we're kind of
It's fine.
all over the place from the ants bridge here, but you ever catch yourself doing that where you're practically lying to yourself or fooling yourself?
I used to, not anymore. To me, it's like it's. I feel so embarrassed and really really crappy when I do, which I rarely do now. Because it sucks.
And then here I am, we're like, oh, I need to catch up on some sleep. The workout, what's the workout going to be? The workout's going to be useless if I don't handle my sleep properly, which is exactly literally what I'm saying to myself right now. I have to fix my sleep first. And yes, that's how the voice sounds in my head. I have to fix my sleep first before I work out and do the physical thing. Mental first before physical.
Your your mentality is your strongest suit. That's what you tell
Yeah.
yourself.
Like the workout is going to be useless. And yeah, that's really how the voice sounds. The workout is going to be useless. Sounds so smart. The workout is going to be useless if your sleep, if you don't have optimal sleep. So go back to sleep and make Jason wait.
Mr. De La Rosa.
Ay, nako.
Man, I don't know.
44 and still waking up late. I can
That's
hear
cu-
I can hear my
it'd be
son's
ni-
voice. It's like, Dad.
It'd be nice if I could do that, though, honestly. Even if I go to bed at like 1:30 in the morning, by freaking 6 o'clock, I'm already awake, and it sucks. I hate it. And it's not like
Oh,
I'm doing it on purpose. My eyes just goes whoop. Time to wake up.
oh, oh, wow. Do you
Yeah,
feel energized though when your eyes go boop?
not all the time. Not all the time. To be honest with you, though, but for me to be able to keep up with it and whatnot,
Mm.
I take midday naps here and there. Not all the
You,
time.
you know what happens to me when I hear that like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock alarm? Instead of
If
my
you
eyes,
hear it,
if I hear it, instead of my eyes going boop, I'm trying to open my eyes because it's a little like sticky. I'm trying to pry it open. You know what I mean?
what do you call that?
In
The
Tagalog, it's muta.
I still don't know what it's called in English. Though. What is that? Eye booger?
Cru- Crusties, crusty, crusty crab.
Have you have you ever
Uh,
been so sick that your eye is wide shut? I mean, shut completely from the mota.
no.
Oh man, that happened to me one time. I got so sick. I had a bad case of the flu and whatnot.
Mm.
So the whole night my eyes have been watery. I woke up the next day. I got so scared. I can't
Oh,
see.
can't open your eye.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's completely crusted except for like one section in the middle, and that's the
uh.
only way I could see. So I'm like, oh my god. And I was like,
Yeah. So that's
oh,
what I do for the first 5 minutes of the day, trying to like pry it open. So, but maybe not that bad where I can't open my eyes. Just
right.
it's just annoying, of course.
But lately, when I take a nap though in the middle of the day, it gets pretty annoying how the only reason I get to nap is because when I get home from work, I put my daughter to take a nap, right? So I end up
Mm.
falling asleep as well. but she just wakes me up sometimes. Oh my god, it's so annoying. Like she'll like
Jump on top of you.
dada dada.
Oh,
Or,
slap you in the face.
yes, or she'll do this. Be like dad,
Oh, that's the worst.
dad, dad. I'm like, oh my god, stop. But the worst is she'll because most of the time when I sleep, I'm facing the side of the bed, the edge of the bed. So she'll get down, go over to my side, and daddy, 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 daddy. God, in the you've heard her voice, as cute as her voice is, but she'll try to keep waking you up that way. Daddy, daddy, daddy. I'm like, stop, give me 5 minutes. Okay. Daddy, daddy, daddy. Like, stop.
Of course, she doesn't know what 5 minutes is, right?
No, she does. When you call her, when you talk, Arya, come here 1 second. Come here. No, 1 minute.
Bargaining time.
Yes. It's time
So
to
going
think
back
about.
to these, going back to these articles real quick. These are army ants specifically, yeah.
Correct. I mean, these army ants are just ridiculous, and some of them could actually get as big as an inch long, right? But what gets to me is there's gotta be, oh man, thousands and thousands and thousands of ants just in that second picture alone. You know what I mean? That bind together to create that bridge. It's insane how strong they are.
But there are also weaver ants. Look at this.
What do you mean
Weaver ants line up in terms to form pulling chains, acting as living winches to bend leaves together when building their treetop nest. So in other words, they're not just working together, they're thinking together. So they're inventing something.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this one right here. This one. I'm about to send you the second one, a third one here. This one is a bunch of army ants as well that binded themselves together and formed a bridge directly to a wasp's nest
To attack, yeah.
Yeah, and they're literally just picking all these wasp up and transferring it from the wasp nest to their own through the bridge that they created. That's crazy.
Scientists, from the first article that you sent, scientists now know simple one-on-one interactions can add up to more than the sum of their parts, explaining much about group level patterns.
It's interesting.
But they've yet to fully understand how information at an individual level is combined and filtered to translate to a group level response.
For the ants?
Which is what I was thinking. Yeah. Because in other words, maybe it's easy for like one-on-one ants to sort of, talk
communicate
to
with each other and whatnot. Like,
yeah. But how do you communicate that whole idea to a whole group of ants to work together, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying, though. I mean, this is just genius. Not only is it brute strength in regards to their size, but for them to just be able to communicate with each other through sensors or whatever and say, hey, let's bind together as strong as we can. Let's go hunting over there. That's crazy.
Yeah. The ants don't have to communicate with each other or assess the size of the structure. The properties of the group are modified simply by individuals sensing and correcting their own errors. Like, why do I get this sense that ants are smarter than people?
Well, they're definitely team players.
We got all our issues and everything going on, and these guys just do their thing.
Hey, come on, guys, help out.
The ability to form complex adaptive structures using a minimum amount of sensing and information processing is extremely valuable to many engineering fields.
It's crazy, though. I mean, an ant's leg, each leg consists of hundreds of like spikes, basically, on each leg, right? And that's how they're able to be that strong and grab onto each other to form whatever it is they need to do.
And these
But
articles were written like 2, 3, 4 years ago. So
yeah, but for them to be that strong and you know, lift something that's 100 times heavier than them,
yeah,
I don't know how they do that. That's crazy.
that's something that we kind of have known about ants, right? That they can lift more than whatever their
Mm.
weight is.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
guess the new quote unquote new thing that we're discovering is how they're able to work together. Or has
Right.
this I wonder how long people have known about this or have
I
like
know.
observed this. I wonder if can you imagine if yeah, they didn't used to be like this, but now you know how they've also sort of discovered that monkeys are going through their own stone age right now, how they're sort of discovering how to use tools kind of thing.
Really? Like we're
Yeah.
talking about like apes or just regular chimpanzees or like small monkeys?
The big ones.
Apes.
Apes. Yeah. Like they've never been seen to hold tools before, like a spear, like to go fishing.
Right.
So I guess they learned that. And then wouldn't it be funny if the ants were going through the same sort of, you know, societal development? Is that the right word
It's
for it?
kind of interesting how these that I want to find out about these apes being a little bit more productive in regards to
Yeah,
evolution and
they're
using
putting tools.
primitive tools and whatnot.
Yeah. They're starting to use primitive tools. So that one I heard about a few years ago, and then now these ants. So
Well, you want to hear
it'd be
something
fun.
funny?
Mm.
There's two guys in Virginia prison that use primitive tools to dig a hole out of jail.
Did they use a spoon to dig themselves out to
Pretty
escape jail and go to IHOP,
much
International House of Pancakes, right? Where
to eat.
patrons report them. Jeez,
So these
hungry.
guys,
I guess the food must have been bad.
it's, in court, you would think, right? So these
Yeah.
guys are in jail in Virginia, which is not that the prison is not that far from actually my county. I'm in
Mm.
Loudoun County, and these guys are in Newport News. It's not that far, about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Um, so they basically make a shiv out of their toothbrush or or
Right.
just can you imagine chiseling away? I don't know if you saw a picture there through a brick wall, and
Yeah. I saw that.
that's this that's a small hole. I mean,
Yeah.
they straight up did like a Shawshank Redemption style, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You might have the key. I got the time.
Exactly. But can you imagine how? So, if you're in prison and you have access to a toothbrush, which is given to
Mm.
you, and then in some cases on windows they have because inside of those structures
Mm.
have what they call
Rebar.
rebars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like I was saying, so imagine you and I are in a cell together, staring at a toothbrush and a small piece of metal that we find. We decide, hey, dude, I'm hungry. Let's start digging and go to IHOP.
No, that yeah, no. By the sound of it, that conversation would have started at the canteen.
Well,
I'll
yeah.
be like, Jay, food here sucks, man. I have an idea.
Can you imagine? I mean, even a
No.
whole.
Wait, Jay, I have an idea. First question: did you brush your teeth this morning? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't. Next time, don't. And give me your toothbrush.
I mean, the hole
Anyway,
that they got there, that's probably got to be like maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, maybe. Maybe like,
no, that's too. That's maybe like 8 inches,
come on. I mean, a whole body can't fit through that. You
a
think?
foot. Oh, if you're Filipino like me, I'll probably fit.
I'm not gonna fit to them. My stomach's too fat for that.
Does it say how big it is?
It doesn't actually. I was trying
Oh
to
yeah,
look
it's
for it,
it's it's small enough.
but still, even let's just say for conversation purposes, it's a foot by a foot, 12 by 12, right?
Mm, mm.
Can you imagine? That looks like it's pure concrete with bricks around it. How long do you
But
think it took them to do that? I mean, they're probably doing it at night, that's for sure.
mhm.
And they probably found like a small piece of rebar, sharpened it a little bit, which whatever way they could, and
Yeah, of
a
course.
toothbrush. Well, first of all, if they sharpen the rebar, that would make a lot of noise. So how are they doing that? You know what I mean? I mean, even though it says here that they also used a toothbrush.
That's that's cute though, right? I mean, it's that's funny. That's funny. Why? That's a nice advertisement for IHOP, right?
I mean,
Right?
yeah, two two federal two escapees from prison decide to go to IHOP.
But the whole thing is that, the food, I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like the food must have been so bad at the prison
That they
that,
decide to break out to go to IHOP.
yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
the question I want to know. Did they plan to go to IHOP to break out? They wanted to plan to go to IHOP, so they break out, or did they plan to break out first and then decide to go to IHOP?
Or I'll
You
be
see,
like, Jay, this is just taking too freaking long, man. This is too long. I don't want to do this anymore. And then you're like, but Noel, IHOP, we gotta get to IHOP. Just
it's right there.
keep the goal in mind. The
I
food here
want those
sucks.
silver dollar pancakes.
Yeah, do you want those pancakes or not? Then keep digging.
Can you can you imagine? I mean, a toothbrush that's formed into a chisel, most likely is what they use, and you're just sitting there on the floor because they. So if it's on the ground and this is the wall, they manufactured their hole like right there, that close. So I'm assuming these guys are laying down on the floor and then just doing this,
That's right.
just
That's
just
right.
chiseling through the wall and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But that's
Uh,
gotta be a crazy conversation while they're doing it. Imagine if these guys are cellmates at night, they go, while they're sitting there trying to chisel their way out, they're probably thinking, hey, Noel, what's the first thing you want to do when we get out of here? I don't know, man. Let's go to IHOP.
yeah. Food here sucks.
Food here
Let's
sucks.
go.
I really want a pancake.
So if you're thinking about that rebar, preliminary investigation found the men exploited a weakness in the jail's construction design and used tools made from toothbrush and metal object to
Right.
access rebars between the walls and
Right.
then use the rebar to further their escape.
Right. Can you imagine? So the structure of the wall is so weak that probably a toothbrush was able to chisel its way into it, because anybody can turn a toothbrush into a shiv. All you gotta do is cut it off to make it sharp. That's it, and then grab the rebar from the middle.
But you're right though, that's what I would be thinking too. How long did it take? But that wall doesn't look too thick and it doesn't look like it's reinforced on the other side either.
Well, it looks like
Or
it. I don't
and
know. That
and
looks like another room on the other side, though, because the picture, it
by the
looks too
light.
clear. Yeah, by the light.
Yeah, I was wondering if that's directly outside to the street. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. And then they just hauled ass to get out of there. But no
Yeah,
matter no matter what, they're going back to jail full.
that's right.
They're gonna be having a full stomach when they go back in.
So I guess but judge from the headline here, so they went to IHOP and the patrons at the IHOP reported them. I guess they were still wearing their pajamas.
Well, see, there's a specific like different jails in the U.S. with different locations and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's specific attire that they wear. Like some places have like a
Yeah,
full
yeah,
body
yeah.
jumper, but it's not necessarily your typical
Right.
black and white color or orange color, like most jails do. You know.
Does anybody still have black and white? I think they updated that
Well,
attire.
I don't know if it's like a black and white, like the stripes one. Maybe it's a black tops and white top. I don't know.
Like black and white. Are they coming from Alcatraz? I mean, gosh.
That's pretty amazing, though. Can you? I just want to know if I was the one that caught these guys. If I was the sheriff that caught them in IHOP, the first thing I'd really ask them is like, dude, did you guys plan this to go to IHOP
Or
or
dude, what's wrong with the food?
was it that bad?
Or ay nako.
Well, with all the tools that's available to all these people there and everywhere. Plus, I'm sure like a lot of jails have a lot of like activities room, like shops and whatnot that actually have
Mm,
access to all
mm, mm,
these
mm,
metal or equipment. Plus, they have weights everywhere, so those weights
mm.
have those small bars that they use as well. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know if it's that kind of jail though. But that wouldn't fly here in the Philippines. If like whatever I don't even know if the guys at the like the maximum penitentiary that we have here in Muntinlupa, which is like 15 minutes away from where I'm living, 15
Really?
minutes.
Is that
Yeah,
close?
yeah, by motorcycle, 15, maybe 20 minutes, but really, really near. I could literally, if I walk it, it'd probably take me an hour to get there. But anyway, the maximum penitentiary facility that we have here, which I have a quick story to tell you, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you have time?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we were doing a delivery. I was doing the motorcycle delivery um one time here, and then I was just following Waze or Google Maps or whatever, right? And then on one of the streets that I drove into, there was like a military checkpoint. It's like, the hell is a military checkpoint doing in the middle of this like sort of residential area?
Right.
And then he says, no, no, no. And I said, the map is telling me to pass through this way. It's like, but first his question was like, what's your business doing here? Oh, I'm not doing any business there. I'm just passing through. And he looked at me like, what are you talking about passing through? There's no passing through here. Go around. And I was
So what
like,
did
go
they say?
around. So I was like, go around what? Go around the jailhouse, because this is Montelupa. It's like, oh, I can't pass through there, but the map Waze told me to pass through, that there is a pass through. So lesson learned: civilians,
Right.
regular, maybe their cops get to pass through the back gate, and was probably using Waze, which is why Waze was allowing or suggesting it. But yeah, so you couldn't pass
Maybe
through.
Waze just wasn't updated, like because it's obviously giving it directions to a place that
Yeah,
it's unaccessible.
yeah, exactly. So the go around was like a 10 kilometer go around.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So what was I saying about that? Oh, the
about what?
Muntinlupa jail here.
The
Oh, they
Muntinlupa
don't
jail. Yeah.
wear. I don't think they even have. I mean, if somebody got out, I don't think I don't think they're wearing any uniform, so I don't think any of us would sort of recognize any inmates.
Really?
And on the flip side of that, if you go around sort of the outskirts, sometimes if you go to Camp Crame,
Oh,
you have like people selling police uniforms.
really?
So
In
it's
Camp
so it's
Crame? Well,
if
why would they
not
sell it though? I don't understand. What's the point of that?
if you want to look like a police officer, maybe not the uniforms, but a lot of the maybe the
That's just for the
bags,
hell of it?
maybe just for the bags. No, what I'm saying here is, although I'm not too sure, I would see people like wearing, military. Maybe that's different from, because you'd see people wearing like army, navy, military clothes, right?
Ah,
And I'm not so sure if that's allowed or not allowed around here. Like saying SWAT team,
just
or
just random
police. or
Well, I'm
local
sure it's
police. Yeah,
okay, but there has to be a specific like there's got to be a specific distinction if it's um what do you call that? Authentic or not, like real uniform.
I couldn't tell. That's what I'm saying.
Ah,
And then practically the same thing with the wang wangs. You know what the wang wangs are?
the
Wow,
way.
wow, wow.
Oh,
So
the
there,
sirens.
the sirens. Yeah. So there are like politicians here that have that. But sometimes, even if you're not,
Oh, sorry, I'm
you,
so sorry. You can't
it,
just say wang wangs for a siren, dude. Wow.
no, that's what they call it here, wang wang.
Jesus.
Uh, so you,
Oh,
I think there was Duterte, I think one of the presidents, Duterte, tried to, was it Duterte or no, Ninoy? I don't remember which one, but there was like a president that tried to ban those, but now I think they're back. I guess for their safety or
the
what.
wang wang.
Yeah, the sirens. It's weird when you say it. It sounds like a curse word or
I'm
a
sorry.
private
Well,
parts. Wang wang. It's not a wang wang. Um yeah, so sometimes sometimes there's that. So there's people that like especially when they get stuck in traffic, all of a
right.
sudden they turn on their wang wang. It sounds so bustos when you say it. So but you know that they're not legit because they don't have their police escorts, right? But there are people that have those sirens on their cars. Just
Just for the
just
hell of
to
it?
just for the hell of it, so that people will like move to the side,
That's
which
pretty
is
stupid. Now
uh
that should be illegal.
it is technically, but they don't really catch you. I mean, it's illegal if you get caught, maybe if
Yeah.
somebody stops you or what or pulls you over, but they'll reason out like you know they're a lawyer or that they you know
So
that they
what gives the lawyer the right to do that? I mean, I don't understand that. And that
uh
does not make
the,
sense to me.
there's no right, there's nothing, none. It's just that they can because they won't really get caught, or if they do get caught they'll be let go. uh
Yeah,
yeah so
that's sketchy as hell.
yeah, so there's that, which is fine, whatever. It's something that rich people can do.
Right.
But the one that really gets me off is the that how we have sort of this habit here where you could hear the siren. Well, for maybe for one thing, you're not really sure if it's coming towards you or if it's coming behind you, but you hear the siren and your wheels are still turning. Like people, since we can't really tell what the direction is the siren is
You keep
coming from,
going.
people keep going. It's not an automatic thing to like
Like pull
move to
over.
the side to pull
Right.
over.
Right.
Yeah.
Here, if you don't move over, you get a pretty hefty ticket. Pretty big fine.
Yeah, supposedly, but they don't like really they don't really enforce that. So a lot of times when there's so a lot of times so people don't get a ticket for not pulling over, and people don't get tickets, or they, although I think they could be or they should be, they
Mhm.
don't get tickets for tailgating the fire truck or the ambulance. Can you imagine
Well,
what I'm
I don't.
saying?
Yeah, but I don't understand that. I mean, it should be okay. I mean, for tailgating an ambulance, as long as you're behind it, not in front of it. Because
Well,
what is
yeah,
it
I
going to
see what you mean.
cause? You know what I mean?
Well, if the ambulance decides to stop, you cause another accident because you're sitting too close behind it, you're tailgating. But yeah, so before I used to get really pissed off about that,
Yeah,
and now I'm one of those people that's sort of tailgating behind
I've seen that in
or
some of your
con-
videos.
continue to be rolling. Yeah,
Right, right. I don't
but
know. Um,
yeah, can't beat them. Join them.
yeah, I do see that. I have noticed that you've been doing that in some of your videos though. Like you posted a couple of new videos the last couple of days, and I've seen a couple.
You're talking about the motorcycle rides,
The
yeah?
motor vlogs, yeah, yeah, the motorcycle
Yeah.
rides that you have.
What did I do?
You just tend to tailgate a lot of people. You follow pretty
Oh,
close.
oh yeah. Yeah, so my passenger gets pretty pissed off about that because I stop suddenly.
Yeah, I don't understand why you do that though. I mean, don't you get scared?
No, maybe. Maybe I think there are times where I'm just sort of half asleep thinking about
Jesus.
something. Not saying that it's right,
So
but
most of the time when you go on these rides, you're either going to your son's house because it's a pretty far drive. It's like what, an hour and a half apparently?
mm, mm,
Almost
mm,
two
mm,
hours as a ride to
mm,
your son's, right?
yeah. Oh, no, I started tailgating because for the motorcycle, if you want to kind of go fast and then let's say I can't see what's in front of me that's too directly in front of me with the headlights.
Right.
The motorcycle in front of me is sort of telling me what the terrain in front of me is going to be like. So I'm not tailgating. Well, in my view, no, as the driver, I'm not tailgating close enough that it's unsafe, but I'm tailgating just following his tracks so that I know which potholes to avoid.
Yeah,
Just
but that
just in terms of potholes, but in terms of tailgating that you're saying like one or two vehicles distance from each other, I'm
that's
not that close.
dangerous though. It's
No,
so
no, no, I'm not that.
even with what you're doing, it's pretty dangerous. I mean, I've also seen you. I can't stand it too. I like what the hell? Well, you literally squeeze into like in between vehicles like that. You've done it a couple of times, and I'm like, there's this one. I can't remember which episode it is. I was just
Yeah.
watching it earlier. I just saw it, and it made me flinch. Okay, you're on your motorcycle. You're about to turn left, or trying to
Mm,
turn left, and there was a jeep.
mm, mm,
Okay,
mm,
you're approaching it.
mm,
Even as a viewer, I could see a guy standing right there next to the Jeep, I guess talking to the driver, whatever. And you literally just went to the side where the guy
mm,
was, and the guy just steps aside and you turn left. And I'm like, holy crap, that guy could have
mm,
just stopped, be taking one more step forward, and you would have hit him.
mm,
That's
mm,
crazy. That's your fault if you do hit him. It's not because he didn't get out of the way.
mm.
Aren't you scared like you're gonna hit somebody like that though? You were probably going like, I don't know, 15 miles an hour, maybe 20 miles an hour going around that left turn
Mm, mm,
between the Jeep and that guy. And I kid you
mm.
not, that guy was too close into frame that you were probably like 5 inches from hitting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Oh.
looks closer than it is on camera. But regardless, yeah, you're right. It would have been my fault. But
I
it's one
did,
of
I
those
couldn't tell.
things
Did you have a
where
passenger in that one?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Christine was riding behind me.
Christ, so scary. I don't know
I
why you
used to
do it,
get
man.
I used to no, you make me sound like a daredevil, but that's nothing. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not making
oh,
you sound like a daredevil. I was just saying that that's pretty stupid and careless.
hmm, it's hard to explain. Now I'm defending like the way Filipinos drive.
Is that
But
standard for most Filipinos? The way they drive like that?
But this because there's another way to look at it also, where it's like, dude, why are you guys having a conversation in the middle of the street? There's cars. You see how far that the traffic is backed up because of that one jeepney having a conversation with that guy
Yeah, I
that
saw that.
decided to have a conversation with him,
Right.
which they're probably talking about what wetting or like the latest lotto numbers. I'm not even kidding. Have you heard of wetting?
No, never heard of
It's
it.
like it's practically like a local lottery. Local by
Local
local
lottery?
meaning by local I mean like just that district or just that community. They'd have like their own
Is that
lot.
government sanctioned or what? Is
No,
that
of
just
course
like
not.
people doing it?
Of course not. Or they could be talking about their latest have you heard of sabong? Two
Yeah,
chickens
the
fighting.
chickens. Yeah, the chicken fights.
They could be most likely be talking about that. It's always like money or some gambling
Or
thing
or they're
that
five
they're
six, 5'6".
yeah, 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 exactly. So it's
That's
never
awesome.
like it's so for me as a driver, knowing that or seeing that having like a use like that kind of conversation, it's like get the fuck out of the way, like so
Do it
I'm
somewhere else.
yeah, and so there's a thing here where they say the jeepneys are like hari ng daan, which is your king of the road.
Right.
because they just stop and go whenever they feel like it. Like they feel like having a conversation. Hey, what are you having for lunch today? That could literally be the conversation that they could have been having at that moment. And all these cars are backed up, waiting for them to finish their conversation. So it's just total disregard for the rest of the vehicles or the rest of the commuters on the road. So that's one thing.
Right.
Uh
Mm.
I'm trying to squeeze my way out of this excuse on why I was lane splitting like that. But like I said, like that just looked fast because I was the first motorcycle in front.
Right.
But believe me, any
I
other
mean, it,
motorcyclist
it,
would have done that too.
yeah, it seems like it. I kind of noticed that. I was just taking a glimpse of the video real quick. Um, but still, it to me, it's so scary. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess if I was by myself, like the way I drive, if I'm driving by myself, I drive the way I want to drive. But when I have a passenger on, like any of my kids or my family or my
Mm.
wife, I don't. I'm a careful SOB. I rarely speed. I
Oh,
mean, I
it's funny.
speed, but I'm very, very careful.
Yeah, me too. Me too. When I'm alone, the more careful I am. But I was pretty.
In
I think I
complete
was pretty.
disregard to like how people now yeah, no, for me when I have somebody, it's just I gotta be careful.
Yeah. There was one time that I did almost get into a. It could have been a bad one. I was on a not freeway, highway. It's a heavy intersection, and then I was trying. I was going to beat the red light, turned orange, all of a sudden turned red faster than. So last second, I decided to stop because I didn't want to, be caught, with my pants down on
Right,
the red light, right?
right.
So I squeeze hard on the brake, and then I hear from behind me like almost a screech, and then the
Mm.
guy swerved around
Swerves
me.
out.
Yeah, so I guess it was a good thing that I was a motorcycle. I was skinny enough for him to swerve around me. So it turns out that there was this van that was following real close. Probably thought that I would beat the red light, and so he would too. I stopped suddenly, and then he swerved around me, and then and the funny thing is I stopped on the line. He came out past the line, so he was already outside on the intersection.
Right.
Because yeah, he was going too fast, thinking that I would beat the red light, and so would he. But he got in front of me. But if there's a vehicle, you're not, those, you guys have those X boxes in the middle of the intersection, right? Where you're not
Wh-
supposed to be stopping
What?
vehicles.
Yeah, where the crosswalks are? You mean like in front of you or no? Are you talking about on the side?
No, like right in the middle of the intersection, because people here you before would stop like on the intersection. So now it's like a little game with the traffic officers. Now
Right.
if you're inside the yellow box, quite literally a yellow box with an X on it, yeah, you're gonna get a ticket, which is what the traffic enforcers were going to do there. So what the guy did was, instead of back up, which he couldn't because there are other vehicles behind us, he turned right.
Mm.
It's like he sort of made an illegal right turn because he wasn't on the right lane to turn right. He was sort of
Right.
on the middle of like a 3, 4, 5 lane sort
It's
of highway.
right.
He
It's probably
just
to
he just
avoid though, so you don't get hit.
and that too, yeah. So he would be in the middle of the road, both on the intersection where there are other cars turning left. And so anyway, he just turned right. But the point of that whole story is that I could hear the screech behind me,
Mm.
and he was like maybe a foot less than 2 feet away from me. So that's how close he was to try to avoid us on his left side.
Right. Right.
Because
Scary.
there was a car on my left, so he couldn't have swerved to the left. His only opening was on my right side.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so on every intersection, I really make a point to slow down. That's if I see the intersection.
I've never really driven like a motorcycle, but I've driven a scooter by myself,
Mm.
on an actual not, I wouldn't say like a highway, but like neighborhood streets. You know what I mean? Like going to the
Mm,
grocery store, going to the mall, and whatnot. Um, it's okay. I like it, but I still get a little frazzled by it just because it's, dude, something goes wrong, you're fucked.
yeah. Yeah, you are vulnerable. You are vulnerable.
Are you
So it's
wearing
not
any kind of protective gear or what?
something that I would recommend. Sometimes if
So, sometimes.
when I'm coming out and I know it's a little late, we're going to get caught in traffic. I don't even bother because it's so hot and I know that I'm not going to be that fast going that.
Right.
So my mentality is if I feel like I need to wear crash pads or knee pads, I must be going too fast.
Right. Right.
So it sort
Or
of
or
forces me to
it when
slow
it's
down
convenient. Look at
or when
it.
it's convenient. Yeah, I know that I'm going too fast.
Right. Right.
But
That's
yeah, of course,
insane, man.
opening my mouth and explaining this to you totally doesn't make any sense.
It does it, dude. It makes you look like a complete idiot for like driving that crazy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
especially with a passenger. Complete disregard to others' safety.
yeah. With my passenger who also doesn't want to wear any knee pads.
Oh my God. Seriously? Why? Is it like a fashion debacle?
No, because it's hot. It's the weather.
Well, what's better, your heat or your life? I mean, I don't understand, you know? There's no comparison there. I'm not going to put myself in ever. I will never, ever put myself in a situation that's going to compromise the possible safety of my life. You
If we crash, it's just going to be a few bruises, maybe. I don't think it's going to be.
know? Maybe
But yeah,
nothing a
um,
band aid can't fix, you know?
right, right. But yeah, it's not me. It's not my driving that's bad. It's the other drivers that I'm worried about.
That's such bullshit reasoning. That's literally what every other person says. You know, it's not me, it's them. It's like,
You know, one reason for me to wear the knee pads though is when I get to my son's house, he's looking at me like, ah, cool, like a superhero.
you made it. It's
You
either
know?
that or is that, or he's either thinking that, or he's like, cool, you made it in one
Yeah,
piece.
yeah, yeah. No,
That's
but like with with all the stuff that I need to wear, my son's looking at me like, looks complicated. Why don't you just ride a car? But yes, he's not too impressed by it.
right, right, right.
But yeah, no. Anyway, so I'm totally agreeing with you, of course, but it's just frustrating, like being on the road myself, and I'm the one that has all those sort of, for the lack of a better term, like more conservative rules
Right.
in my head if I drive the way that you're saying, which I tried for about 3 days, and then I was like, if I continue to drive this way and I don't drive a little more, not aggressively, but a little more, you know, if you know what I mean, if I don't drive like that, I'm not going to get to where I need to be.
Quicker
And
or
there
in
are,
quicker or in one piece.
I'll get there in one piece. But there are times I've only been riding for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. There
Oh, is
was a
that so?
time when,
That's it?
yeah, I'm not really
You made it sound like you've been driving a motorcycle for a long time.
no, 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 no. There were a few times where I would be sitting behind or on a traffic situation where I'd be sitting behind a car, and I'd be like, why am I not squeezing in like lane filtering because I can fit, because we're on a motorcycle. I forget that we're on a motorcycle
See, you
because
can't
like
do that here.
my mentality is still that we're in a
If
car.
if
Lane,
there's
lane
10
filtering
cars
is
in,
not allowed.
no, it's not. If there's 3 lanes and there's
Mm,
traffic, you
mm,
you go behind the cars. You can't squeeze through and whatnot.
mm.
It's just you can't even the side on the road. There's like
Mm,
I guess the shoulder is what they call it. You can't go on
mm.
that either. It's illegal. You get a pretty big ticket in
A
some
ticket,
cases.
yeah.
You might get
Nah,
your driver's license suspended. So I don't know.
Nah, the funny thing here is like, yeah, so I try to do a little bit of that, like have a little bit more patience. And then after like 30 seconds of it, I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. Let's just go. Let's
Right.
just squeeze in. And yeah. And it's funny because the traffic enforcers also ride motorcycles, so they know sort of the sentiments of, the people riding motorcycles. So they're not really, what they are big on catching here though is helmets and flip flops or slippers. If you're not wearing proper shoes, they'll
So you,
they'll
you
catch
can't
you.
wear flip flops
Yeah,
anymore
and
because I've seen it so many times before in
yeah,
the Philippines where people driving
no,
motorcycles in their shoes.
no,
Helmets make
maybe,
sense. Here you can't.
yeah,
You can't any any motorcycles here with any two or three whatever vehicle with motors in it. You can't operate it without a helmet. Even the little ones
right,
for kids.
same, and you can't put kids on the back delivery box that you got behind you.
Shut it closed and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
so there, that's my thing.
that's the story for the day. Don't put kids into the delivery box in the back.
Why do I feel like we just talked about how late I was, these army ants, and the way I drive on the motorcycle? Those are like the three things that we talked about today.
Well,
I was like,
we talked about the instructional directions for using the fly swatter.
yeah, it's like
Uh, your
all,
driving skills.
all
No,
about
we talked
me, my
about the Shawshank IHOP.
a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah. The ants.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like I anything happening in your side of the world lately for the remaining minutes that we have left?
Not much. Well, actually, one of the big things that's going on right now, Biden is possibly President Biden. He's
Mm.
possibly trying to ban TikTok all over the country.
Oh, yeah, I heard
Which,
about that.
yeah, I mean, I don't know why that's where that's stemming from because there's so many speculations on why he's doing it,
Mm.
but I don't understand it. I really
Uh
don't understand it. Uh,
TikTok supposedly has this sort of spy. It's a spy app where you download it, it's free, you get all the good stuff, you get all the dopamine things, but you get a lot of didn't you hear about this?
I did. Well, supposedly it gathers information from your personal phone, not personal phone, but your searches
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah. So it's a whole national defense reason,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure.
understand that, but is freaking is the military using TikTok that they're afraid to share secrets or something?
Not the military itself, but probably trying to gather information about US citizens and what people are doing with their phone.
Yeah,
Maybe not the military itself.
there's a gray line there. I mean, yes, I think it's like what? It's an Asian company, right? TikTok.
Yeah, China.
Yeah. So there's so many speculations of this whole thing going on, and then how the China bubble, the balloon, supposedly spy balloon that was shut down, which they're saying
Mm.
is whatever. And
Right.
now this, I really don't understand how. Okay, for example, it gathers IP address informations or personal info based on how you use TikTok.
Yeah.
But how is that going to be used against anybody, the country, with the exception of the person it's being taken from?
The data, like the
Like what? How much porn the guy watches, or I
yeah,
don't
but
understand.
maybe as a society, as a nation, as a whole, that's what they're trying to figure out. But from national relations and China and that kind of thing, but what about your world, like your neighborhood? What's going on in Jason's?
Not much really. It's been kind of like to be
Did
honest with
Jay
you, it's
win?
been a pretty stressful week and a half with me for my professional side. but I don't need to go into details in that. The
What
only
about
thing, the
family
only
side? How
no
often do you guys do groceries? I'm
for
curious. That's the
personal
one that
side.
stresses me out.
How
How?
often we do grocery
Yeah,
as my
yeah,
household?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Once a week.
Okay, once a week here too. But
You're complaining about
I,
once a week?
our last grocery trip,
Yeah.
we got so much stuff. There was a taxi that so we were trying to load the groceries on the motorcycle, right?
Hmm.
And then I was like, it's not gonna fit. It's not gonna fit. And it just so happens that there was a taxi that passed. I was like, why don't we get a cab? So we flagged them down, got a cab, and then I followed them behind because I didn't want to overload the motorcycle again with so much groceries. Now that's dangerous. I
Yes, that's dangerous,
that's the
especially
one
with
that
it.
that's the one that stresses and pisses me off, which is only like we're only like 10 minutes away, 2 kilometers from the grocery, but it's a little bit of an incline.
Right.
So I'm you know
We do groceries about I see I do the grocery shopping. 95% of the time I do the grocery shopping.
by yourself.
Yeah, because
Mm,
it's honestly my wife just gives me a list and then I just
mm,
go get it because
mm,
every time I hate it. I hate going grocery shopping with my wife. We'll plan to go to the grocery store and I know that we have this in our list. But for some
mm.
reason we end up with this and this and this and
Yeah,
this.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you know, like in my head, I know I'm budgeting about $120. $250 later, it's like,
Mm,
come on, man. You know, but I also have that's not all her fault. Okay. I have a
mm,
bad habit of like, even though I'm telling my kids, don't eat that, don't eat this. But when I see it, I gotta get it, for my kids.
make
That's like
sure
one,
that
yeah, one of the bad habits that I have. The second bad habit I have is if I see something on sale and it's actually a good deal, I get it. You know, like
yeah, I
how
learned that
many,
lesson. I
yeah, how
told you
many,
about that. Sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I told you about that story about looking for clothes that I wanted to get again.
Yeah, yeah,
Went to the store, asked the lady, and yeah. So they didn't have the same thing anymore when I came back. So I was
right,
like,
right. Yeah, it's when I go grocery shopping, it's like I want to get in there, find it, and get out.
mm.
You know what I mean?
But like you said, when you see something on sale, you got to get it.
That's the problem there, which I've learned as of late. The quicker I go get through the list, the less time I spend buying useless crap. You
Yeah,
know?
keep your head down, stick your nose to the list, and get out of there.
Right. But I also have a bad habit of buying too much crap for others though. Like my wife gets mad at me because I love buying my wife snacks. I don't know
Mm,
why. Even even when I'm at the Asian store, I get to the snacks aisle. I'm like, my wife wants that. My wife wants that. So I'll like grab a couple of each and whatnot, and bring it home. And I'm always trying to find something for everybody most of the time. And it's a bad habit because my wife gets mad at me and is like, I'm already getting fat. I'm eating too much of this crap. Especially those ding dongs and boy bawangs.
mm.
So especially when I buy those ding dongs and boy bawangs, my wife and my son, like, I swear, I don't know what they do. Maybe they crunch it up and mix it to water and just drink it because I could buy 5 bags of those and it's all gone by the next day.
That's what I was doing yesterday. I was inhaling these boy bawang.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. I mean, I
I,
like it. They're good, but they're not that good.
I started off with the adobo,
Yeah.
crunched that down, and then I went to the garlic one, and it's gone. Just, just
I like
inhaling. It's just inhaling the bag.
the one thing that I really inhale that I don't know for some reason I can't get enough of is that the Nagaraya crackers or Nagaraya nuts.
Mm, mm,
Remember
mm,
this peanut that's wrapped in
mm,
whatever shell that is?
mm,
I don't know if it's really Japanese or whatever, but those things are
mm.
good. Those things are really, really good. I could eat that all day long, especially when I used to drink beer a lot. Man, That was good
Not
stuff.
not my thing. I go back to the boy bawang, the garlic flavor and the adobo flavor. But you know what this conversation reminds me of though? I mean that topic reminds me of though our Labrador back in the days. I had to get in one of those bowls that had like a little puzzle to get through the kibble
Yeah.
because he's just eating too fast. So he,
Jesus.
he had to like lick through like each and every single you know those puzzle plates that I'm talking about
Yeah. Yeah. No,
just
I
to
know what
get
you're
through
talking
it.
about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for me, being the human that I am, so I pour it on my hand and I'm like, whoop, playing like a little game if I could shoot it in my mouth without touching the because it's gonna sound ridiculous. So when I put it in my mouth, I don't want my hand to touch my mouth, right? Because it's one of those like Japanese things, maybe where you don't want the chopsticks to be touching your lips,
Right.
or
So
you don't
how do
want
you eat it?
you just throw it in your mouth
Like, oh, so you just like
like
that.
half. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're doing it one at a time.
But by the end of that whole handful, my hand has like all this cheese in it.
Right. Right.
So it's like, what's the whole point of my mouth is clean and my fingertips are clean, but my whole hand has like slob all over it. So
Right. Right.
that's what I've been going through the past couple of days, binging on cooking shows.
Well, it's
Hi.
it's definitely one of those snacks, those Nagaraya things that just sticks with me ever since I was a kid. You know.
I remember you again one of those times that you were tying your shoelaces in your house one time when we were no how could you be eating nagaraya and tying your shoelaces at the same time. But I remember one of those times that we were hanging out that you were like into like butong pakwan, is that what you call it?
Yeah. Yeah. The watermelon
That's
seeds.
watermelon seeds. I was like
Yeah.
not for me,
Really?
not for me.
They're
Yeah,
good. I can
yeah.
I can I can put or no, one thing I like the most now, now that I'm older is sunflower seeds.
I remember feeding those to the parrot before. Like we used to have birds in the house. It's
Right.
just not my thing.
I don't know. I like it. Yeah. But anyhow.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. It looks
I got
like we are all done for the day.
I gotta get back to this hole that I'm digging with my toothbrush here.
you got you got to start chiseling away.
That's
Well,
right. Figuring out my exit.
there you go, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in. Another one in the till. Um, catch us in the next episodes, which would be this Saturday. Hopefully, episode 23 comes out tomorrow. This will episode 24 will be coming out on Saturday. Thanks for tuning in. This is the flip side with Jay and Noel. My name is Jay.
My name is Noel.
Catch you later.
On the flip side.
Peace out, bitches. Catch us on the next episode on the flip side with Jay and Noel. New episodes uploaded on Wednesdays and Saturdays.